when sorry is not enough. Enough said. Call Ed. EdBernstein.com.
It's the Ed Bernstein Show, Home Edition. Now, here's your host, Ed Bernstein.
Hi, and welcome to our show. Once again, today we are going to talk to some of our judicial candidates and existing judges. In a few minutes, we're going to talk to Michael Villani, District Court Judge, and now with me is Judge Kephart, William Kephart. And Judge Kephart, how are you today? I see that you're at home and not in court.
Yeah, I'm at home. It's now 1:30, and we're done. We've only been working. Some of us probably about half time during the. We get our morning calendars done. We're not doing any jury trials. That's all been pushed back because of the COVID pandemic. And so, thanks for having me, Ed.
So how does it work exactly during this time of the virus? Are you trying to do most of what you can through video?
Yes, we have. I have a split calendar. I have a criminal calendar and a civil calendar. And those of us that have criminal calendars, we handle, we have obviously people that are in custody, people that are out of custody. The out of custody have been extended. We've moved them out. We've caught a few stragglers in, back and forth to decide they want to come in, and we do them on video. Their attorneys appear from their office or their home, or even a couple of attorneys have appeared from their car. Some attorneys have come in. We have them wearing masks when they come in the courtroom. I still sit on the bench and appear from the bench. My whole staff is with me. The in custodies we handle from. They have one room over in the jail that they bring all the in custodies into, and they bring them up one at a time. And we have their attorneys that are linked to them through a phone, and the interpreters are linked to them through a phone. And so if we and then we handle it that way. It's a struggle. But we've been able to address many issues. We're not doing any jury trials. All the jury trials have been postponed. We're supposed to start picking back up with jury selections on the 23rd of this month. It's supposed to be our first jury commission is bringing in a group of jurors. And that's going to be interesting because we're handling those one courtroom at a time. What has happened is that of all the in custody individuals charged with criminal acts that have invoked their right to a speedy trial, we're trying to address them first, and we put them on a first come first served basis. Our chief judge has put together a list, and if you're the judge that's handling, say I had number one, then I would be the first one in order. Then number two comes, number three, number four down the road like that. But we're only picking one jury at a time. So anyone that's ever done any work before the juries in the Regional Justice Center would understand how interesting that's going to be, how hectic that could be. And we've got some reports from some other courts around the United States that have started their juries back. And one particular court was interesting. I saw it was out of Utah, and they called in a jury. There was a jury pool. There was 110 people in the jury pool, and I believe 10 people showed up. So it's going to be interesting. The people are still fearful, and we're trying everything we can to address all the needs of our litigants, all the needs of our public. and the needs of the court staff and the courts. And it's tough, Ed. It really is.
It's very challenging. I can see that, particularly protecting the health and safety of the jurors. I mean, that's fundamental. Anyway, yeah, I mean, that's very challenging. But you have the experience of, you have a lot of experience. Yeah, I mean, you have experience. You're in I believe the city attorney's office, if I recall correctly at the time. And then
I started back as a law clerk for George Ogilvy when I was in law school. I would come out in the summers and work for him.
Yeah.
And then one year I didn't come out. I stayed back in Ohio where I was going to school, worked for a federal district court judge. And then I got asked by George if I would come work as a city attorney. And so I came out in 1987 and was hired as a city attorney in the city attorney's office. And I worked there till 1990 because if you remember, Ed, back then, the DUIs before 1986 were treated as civil infractions, and then they turned them as a criminal infraction in 1986. So there was a really big upswing of people studying DUI law. And I took an interest in that. And I was recruited by the district attorney's office to come over and work with the DUIs that they were dealing with. And so I came over in 1990 to the district attorney's office. I was involved in starting the first DUI team in the DA's office with Gary Booker. Gary Booker and I handled those. And then I worked through. I started on doing a lot of jury trials, spent a number of time. I did 133 jury trials. I was a chief for the district attorney's office. Then I became a justice court judge in 2010. A district court judge in 2015, and that's been my career.
Yeah, and when you mention justice court and district court, can you elaborate a little bit of what the difference and nuances of those two courts are, and how it pertains to your job as a judge?
Well, justice court is the equivalency in some regards of the municipal court that we have in the incorporated areas in Clark County. Justice Court handles the unincorporated areas of Clark County for all the municipal traffic and municipal misdemeanor matters. They also handle what they call approve-ups. They do the similar to what a grand jury would handle. The judges sit and preside over felony and gross misdemeanor prove-ups to establish that there's enough evidence to take a case to trial. They initially are charged in justice court, and then they, if they have enough evidence, they'll bring it up to district court. Then the district court judge is the trial courts. The trial courts handle all the jury trials and the felony bench trials, and they do all the civil jury trials and civil bench trials over a certain amount of money. Justice court handles some civil matters too under a threshold dollar amount. So what we're doing is, you need to be able to understand the jury process. You need to be able to understand legal procedure, both in civil and criminal matters. Like I said, I'm approaching almost 300 jury trials as in addition to what I got when I was in the DA's office. And so I feel very proficient. I'm very comfortable in the courts with trials. It's nothing for me to pick up a case and do a jury trial. You can pick them up from my fellow judges. So it's you have to have that experience, Ed. You have to have that experience to. I was telling you earlier, I'm from here. I'm from Southern Nevada. I grew up in Henderson, and I think of this as my town. And so when So when I'm, in court, I feel like it's important that people from this community have people that are from here, people that understand what our communities went through and what our community deals with and what our community wants. And this is a very good place for me to be able to relate to the community and relate to the people in the legal field. As you know, as well as I do, people that get in the legal field that don't understand it are scared. They're uncomfortable if they don't understand it, and they want people that are experienced and proficient in the area. And quite frankly, after you've been doing it as long as I have, I'm not afraid to maybe require people to toe the line. Require people, to show respect to our profession. It's a very respectable profession. But people show up on time. People dress appropriately. People act appropriately. People speak appropriately. And I'm one of those kind of people. And sometimes I think we've got away from it in the younger generation, and our profession has gotten away from that. And sometimes I take criticism for it, but I'm okay. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. So,
what do you find to be the most difficult part of your job as a district court judge?
I guess handling of the number of cases. I'm still an early riser, so I'm in my office by 6:30 every morning, and I find myself sometimes being there till after 6 o'clock at night. Sometimes earlier I leave, but it's based on getting things done, and our caseload is huge, and this pandemic is really going to affect it even more. Court needs to make decisions. When I was practicing in front of the courts, it always frustrated me when the court would say, well, I'm going to take this under advisement, and they'd hold on to it forever. And I don't do that. I don't have any cases under advisement. I pretty much have idea how I'm going to rule on it. When I go into court, I give the litigants an opportunity to address it. And I'll tell a lot of the litigants, say, here's where I'm at. Show me where I'm wrong, or show me where I'm making a mistake here. If I'm ruling against you, obviously if I'm telling them I'm ruling it for you, you're right on, Judge. But so I think the idea is that you have to work, you have to want to work, and you have to want to make decisions, and you have to understand that lawyers are there. They're there trying to move and get their litigant, get their clients protected, get their clients some type of support, and get them taken care of. And without a judge that's willing to do that, it just stalls everything. And so handling your calendar is super important.
So getting through those cases and getting results back or decisions back quickly are important, primary to you. We got about a minute left, Judge. In this last minute, I know you're running for re-election. You've, were elected at a prior election. So make the case. Why should you be re-elected?
Well, like I said earlier, I think experience is tantamount to this position. I think the people are proper to require that of their judiciary. And I bring it here. I bring that to this bench. I've had an awful lot of cases that I've looked. I've handled probably hundreds of thousands of cases in my career, and I've seen so many different angles that people bring to the bench and bring to our litigation. And I just have I have a good work ethic. I've experienced. I think at times I think I'm pretty tough. I've been criticized for that because I believe that holding lawyers to the task is important, and I do that. And so sometimes I've taken some criticism, but I can handle that. I think as the district court judge, as we're the jury trial courts, is if you don't have experience doing jury trials, I don't think you have any business even being on that. I can't even answer to that. I can't believe, as a litigant, walking in front of a judge that's never done a jury trial, how I'd handle that. I think that would just scare me. to death.
Yeah. I mean, that jury experience is very important. And to our viewers, I mean, this is as realistic as it can become. You hear maybe birds in the background on my side. You hear kids and well, I don't hear your fish though behind you, Judge.
I have a parrot, and he's over around the corner, just talking. You want me to bring him on my shoulder?
I got a couple birds too. I'm trying to ignore them at the moment. Right now, they're chirping.
Maybe my parrot's talking to your birds too, Ed.
Anyway, I mean, it's great. I mean, it's okay. My viewers don't understand. This is what happens when you're doing these interviews over Zoom. So thank you so much, Kephart, and I appreciate it. And we'll be right back with Judge Mike Villani.
All right. Ed, thank you. It's always been a pleasure talking with you. You're a great guy to talk to. Thank you.
I grew up watching him on TV.
He helped me with my case.
He helped me with my case.
He's always helping our community.
They've got one of the largest jury verdicts in Nevada. I trust him.
I trust him.
I trust him.
Enough said. Call Ed.
Well, a familiar face in Southern Nevada and at our courthouse is Judge Michael Villani. And Judge, I mean, I remember you in private practice, and you handled all kinds of cases. You did civil cases, criminal cases, and then as a district court judge, you've kind of been doing both types of cases as well. Is that correct?
Yes, Ed, that is correct. And first off, thank you for letting me come on to your show here. As a private attorney, before I took the bench, I handled civil criminal cases. I started my career as a deputy district attorney. And I took the bench in April 2007. And I've had a split calendar for the last 13 years, handling both civil and criminal cases. Presently, I've been appointed the chief criminal presiding judge for the 8th Judicial District Court.
And what does that mean when you say the chief criminal presiding judge? I mean, you get appointed by the chief judge, I guess, and by the other judges, and then what are those responsibilities?
Well, I don't know if you have about 10 hours so I can tell you what I do.
Can answer about 30 seconds?
Okay. I help effectuate the policy of the court, working with the chief judge, working with the other presiding judges, also the liaison with the district attorney's office, the defense bar, the public defenders, Nevada Department of Corrections, the probation department, the Clark County Detention Center, also in charge of help with the assignments, and as one of the criminal judges, also handling the search warrants. When we receive phone calls from law enforcement, I handle the search warrants for all types of cases.
Well, I mean, that's a really important job. Let me ask you, with the COVID-19 going on, and I know a lot of what the judges are doing, they're having video arraignments, and sometimes there's some, the defendants or the accused may, show up in person in court. But are you noticing, are there less people being arrested and put in custody and requiring arraignments now, or is it about the same as it always has been? What have you noticed?
I think the rate of arrest is probably the same. However, because of the COVID, there's an administrative order out that encouraging Clark County Detention Center, the sheriff, to release some lower offenders, lower crime, individuals accused of lower crimes to be released earlier. There's a lot of motions now for OR, bail reduction. Alternative means like putting someone on house arrest. We're doing what we can to minimize the population at the Clark County Detention Center, but also balancing safety for the community and also the rights of someone accused of a crime. So we all the judges have been working on that. We're trying to keep, like I said, the population lower at the Clark County Detention Center.
Yeah. So, I mean, that is a balance for sure. And because particularly a lot of these people that may be in custody may be ill or elderly, and I'm sure you empathize with some of those things. The role of a district court judge, I've watched your career as a private lawyer, as a district attorney, and now as a district court judge. How is it different now? I mean, you're looking back from when you first took Judge Mike Cherry's department after he retired, after he went to the Supreme Court, actually. Looking back now, how is it different?
Well, there's always a learning curve, but prior to taking the bench, I had been an alternate municipal court judge, a justice of the peace pro tem, a small claims court judge, and I had handled 357 arbitrations. So I had some quasi-judicial experience. But becoming the judge, it's a whole new ballgame, but I think I had the background to be a judge. And I was fortunate enough to have the split calendar assignment, meaning civil and criminal cases. And I think now, because of, we're more technologically advanced, a lot of things are done via video. It's called Blue Jeans at the courthouse. I'm talking to you today via Zoom. There's electronic filing, which we didn't have 13 years ago. We're signing orders electronically, which we didn't have. The court system's doing everything we can to try to move the cases forward. Because Ed, that the old phrase, justice delayed is justice denied. And if we just sit back until there's a vaccine, whether it's a civil or criminal case, people's rights are not protected if we wait. We have to keep moving forward, and that's what we've been trying to do.
Yeah, and I know that didn't you excel at that, or aren't you the number one judge in getting those cases resolved, caseloads resolved?
All right, in 2018, for a split calendar judge, I had the number one clearance rate, and what that means is that I had the shortest time of resolving those cases. Again, because whether it's a civil or criminal case, the parties, the attorneys, the victims of a crime, the defendant, a party in a civil action, wants their cases heard. And I'm proud of the fact that I was able to move my cases forward, and I had the number one clearance rate of all district court judges handling civil and criminal cases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it must be very difficult. I know it is very difficult running for a judgeship, because you have to run countywide. You're on a ballot with multiple judges that are running this year, in addition to all the national attention. And I suspect, unfortunately, that a lot of the voters don't really discern or know who some of the candidates are. What should a voter be looking for when choosing a judicial candidate?
Well, one is the training and experience. And what I bring to the ballot, what I bring to the bench, is a proven track record. And, from 2007, when I took the bench, until the last stats of December 2019, I conducted the second highest number of jury trials of all the judges in Clark County. And also, since that time, we reviewed every single Supreme Court decision, every single Court of Appeals decision. And for those last 13 years, I've been affirmed in the 90th percentile each and every year. And Ed, this year in 2020, I've received 25 decisions from the Supreme Court. And as you know, a decision from the Supreme Court doesn't come down for a decision I made yesterday. It's usually from about 6 months, a year, or 2 years. This year, 26 decisions have come down from the Supreme Court, from orders of affirmance, petitions for judicial review, writ denials, or appeals. And I've been affirmed 100% of the time this year. And I'm proud of that fact, because I work hard. I'm trying to make the best decision possible. I'm trying to be fair to both sides. And I think that's the keys of what a judge needs to bring to the bench.
And look, everything you just said is really important, but I just don't know how the average voter really gets a handle on some of that. What you're saying about the 25, 26 cases at the Supreme Court, you as a judge, you have to follow the law of the land, which is either a statute or a decision by the Supreme Court. And they have acknowledged that even though somebody may have disagreed, one of the parties may have disagreed if your decision and appealed it, Supreme Court acknowledged that, yes, you followed the law and followed the precedent and did the right job that a judge should be doing. It's just very difficult to get that information out to voters.
You're absolutely right. Everyone's going to have a website up, that's going to promote themselves. And, it's something you can look at. I think, we're going to run a very positive campaign, compare the candidates, but also you can look at who has endorsed you. Or different various organizations The first responders, firefighters, and law enforcement have all endorsed me. So far, every single trade union has endorsed me. And in particular, SEIU, which is Service Employees International Union, which encompasses the healthcare workers and the workers at the courthouse. Who better knows how you conduct yourself than someone that actually works in the courthouse? And so I'm proud of that. I'm proud of all my endorsements, but SEIU endorsement involving the workers at the courthouse, court clerks, court staff, courts, everyone. I am, proud of that endorsement because they hear what the other attorneys say, they hear what other judges, and they see for themselves how you conduct yourself on the bench.
Judge, I would endorse you just because you, any father can work through 6 kids. I'm ready to endorse.
I appreciate that. 6 children, 7 grandchildren. So there's always a birthday party. Every single month there seems like a birthday. And then during the COVID, we went to some of the grandkids' birthday parties. And what we did, we drove to their home, all the relatives. And from in the street, we sang them happy birthday. We dropped their presents off on the ground and they picked them up. So from the courthouse to, the birthday parties, we have to adjust to the COVID.
You're a busy man. Any of the kids interested in law?
No, I have 3 of the kids are first responders. My daughter is a child protective service worker. One of my sons, as you may know, was in the Marines and he's no longer with us. And so, all of us are involved in service to our community, to our country. No one wanted to go into the legal field, and that's fine. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I can certainly empathize. We only have a minute left. I wanted to chat about, I know you lost a son, and I lost a daughter, and when people, it's kind of touchy when people ask you, how many kids do you have, how you answered that. I like the way you just answered it. So you're a hell of a judge and a hell of a father, and appreciate everything you do for the community. And as people, get out and vote, and get out and vote for the right judges. Judge,
go ahead. Thank you, Ed. I appreciate the opportunity.
End the conversation. Go ahead and end it.
Okay. I just want to thank you and thank the community for consideration. If you want to learn more about me, you can go to www.Villani4Judge, and that's the number 4, Villani4Judge.com. And I appreciate your support and your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Ed.
My daughter Dana fought a long battle with Crohn's disease before passing last year. Max has spent a lifetime scoring goals.
It's our goal to help the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation find a cure for this horrible disease, so no one else's child has to suffer like Dana did.
Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis may be unfamiliar to you, but there are currently over 3 million Americans suffering from both. Join Max and I in scoring our goal to find a cure.